And welcome into this episode of Craze's Corner. We got lots of news happening, lots of trades happening. So today we're going to be discussing three wide receivers that have switched teams. We're going to rank them rest of season, and we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns with Jameis Winston starting at quarterback. It's just me and Will today for media. How you doing, Will?
Good, Zach. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. We got definitely some exciting stuff to talk about. We got Devonte Adams on the Jets, Amari Cooper on the Bills, and just today we got DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. Cooper Kupp is a name to also watch out for. He could be switching teams, but for now, he's still in the Rams. So yeah, we got those three guys. Let's rank them based on what we have rest of season. To me, I would prefer to have Amari Cooper. It would be my number one of the three. I think in that Bills offense, he's going to be a target hog. They really need someone to be the number one for Josh Allen. There's going to be touchdowns for him. And I'm not really worried about anyone stealing his targets. Devonte Adams does have Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard. And that offense, to me, is not as good as the Bills offense. And then DeAndre Hopkins, I do like. I think he's probably – I don't know if I'd rather have him or Adams. I think it's close. What do you think? Is your number one, or do you have somebody else number one?
No, I actually kind of agree with your rankings. You would have asked me a week ago, I maybe would have said Adams. But
that team.
It's I think Wilson's going to come out better. Wilson's the one that's going to benefit the most from that trade.
Yeah, like Garrett Wilson, other than the fact that he dropped that pass that turned into an interception, which – doesn't bode well for his trust with Aaron Rodgers, but I think that Adams is going to be good, and Hopkins I might put above Adams just because I think the volume is going to be there, and this is the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 6-0. The touchdowns are going to be there as well, and I think DeAndre Hopkins still has it. I don't think he's washed. He put up 1,000 yards last year with the Titans, so I like DeAndre Hopkins in this. Out of all of the trades, which one do you think helps their NFL team the most?
Cooper.
Cooper? Yeah. I agree.
Right? Like what they say after the last game, he didn't even know the play. He was just running a route, and I'm like, okay, he scored, so we'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. There was like Keon Coleman was telling him like what route to run or whatever, and then Keon said he wasn't actually, he was just confirming the route. But either way, like Amari Cooper adds another dimension to that offense that they don't have right now. So I think, to me, Amari Cooper is probably he could be a top 6 wide receiver down the stretch, and I definitely wouldn't be surprised.
And at some point, if the Jets keep losing, at what point does Adams say, "Hey, I'm shutting down my hamstring again"? Because I'm not trying to go in, because we all know Aaron Rodgers is done after this year. There's no way Aaron Rodgers is coming back. So if I'm Adams, if we're 2-7.
Yeah, I don't.
They have to yank Rodgers.
Yeah, it's a rough situation. They do get Hassan Reddick back hopefully this week, so that will help their defense out a little bit. But their offense just didn't quite look right last week against Pittsburgh. We'll see this week. Maybe they can get it together, but they play the Patriots, so if they can't get it together this week, there's some issues.
Drake May, baby. Drake May's going to out-do Aaron Rodgers. So bank on it.
But Breece Hall is going to run all over that New England Patriots. He's a big winner for me out of that Devonte Adams trade. You said Garrett Wilson might be the biggest winner. It might be Breece Hall just because the touchdowns, they should be there for him now that they weren't going to be. But that's if this Jets offense can get it together. They can't score 15 points and expect to winning games.
If he has Aaron Rodgers and the Jets offense has a bad game this week,
if they lose to the Patriots, that's gonna be interesting. I don't like what at that point. What can the Jets do? They're stuck.
They're stuck.
They can try and scramble and make another trade before the deadline, but
if you're the owner, do you tell them to stay the tank? I mean, honestly, you guys start thinking about next year and who's going to play quarterback for you.
Probably not, like you said, probably not going to be Rodgers. I guess there's still a chance he could come back if he really wants to play with Devonte Adams again, but I'm not huge on that. Even if he does come back, I don't think he's going to be like Super Bowl contending with the Jets. So it's an interesting situation. So yeah, we are Amari Cooper, top 6 possibly. I think Hopkins is probably a low-end wide receiver 1 with the Chiefs, and Devonte Adams should also be a low-end wide receiver 1, but he could be a high-end wide receiver 2 if this offense doesn't get it together.
So Hopkins, I mean, I think he's like you said, I don't think there's anything where he's done.
No.
He's going to do 1,000 yards. I do think in this offense, he becomes a significant red zone threat.
Yep.
And he might take touches away from Kelsey in the end zone area. So,
yeah, I think it might hurt Kelsey when it comes to end zone or red zone touches because, like you said, DeAndre Hopkins can get open whether it's zone or man.
Yeah.
He's still I don't know off the top of my head, but I wouldn't be surprised if DeAndre Hopkins is younger than Travis Kelsey.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at it that way, yeah, I believe he is as well. So DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to be a target hog. He's going to take the targets that Rashee Rice had. He's going to take the targets that everyone thought Sky Moore was going to get. He's going to take all of those targets. They're going to be his. Juju now.
Sky Moore, that's just, don't say that.
Yeah, Juju had a chance to maybe be something fantasy-wise. Now with DeAndre Hopkins there, I don't think Juju's going to do anything. He's out anyways with the hamstring injury this week. So if they can get DeAndre Hopkins up to speed for their game, I think Hopkins is going to be a good. That was a good acquisition for them as well. Yeah. It's a 4th-round pick if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, or it's a 5th-round pick if the Chiefs don't make it to the Super
Bowl. Anyone that has Mahomes in fantasy, that's who really wins on this, right? Yeah, because
he needed something.
They needed something.
Yeah, and speaking of quarterbacks, we got Jameis Winston taking over for Deshaun Watson. So this is good news for some fantasy options in Cleveland. We have, Nick Chubb looked pretty good last week. You have Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman had a big week last week, and so did David Njoku. So out of these Browns, is there anyone that you're comfortable starting with Jameis Winston at quarterback?
Well, we're in bye weeks, right? So I honestly don't think you should shy away from some of the Browns' offensive guys. I have Chubb in a couple of my leagues, and I know it's running back. It's a little bit different. But if I had the Njoku, the tight end, I'm playing him. Winston's going to sling the ball. He's going to throw it and throw it and throw it until the whistle blows, and he's going to keep trying to throw it then. I think he's going to do okay.
I agree. David Njoku had 10 receptions last week, 76 yards and a touchdown. I don't have the split of how much of that was when Jameis came in, but I know the touchdown was thrown by Jameis. So that's the important one. Cedric Tillman is another interesting name that maybe in more of a dynasty league you can pick up Cedric Tillman and look to possibly play him. I want to see what Jerry Jeudy does this week. The Browns traded away Amari Cooper with the thought that they just paid Jerry Jeudy all this money to now be their wide receiver 1. So let's see if he can do something more than the one catch he had last week on his 95% snap share, which is the highest of the season. So if Cedric Tillman this week looks better than Jerry Jeudy, then I'm probably, as it is bye weeks, I think Cedric Tillman's a guy you're going to be able to start. I liked him coming out of college. And I have him on a couple of my dynasty leagues because I thought that once he got the opportunity, he'd be able to play. And like we said, Jameis will sling it. He's the guy who has 5,000 yards almost every year in Tampa, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. He's going to throw the ball whether or not. You're probably starting the defense that he's playing against because they're going to get a pick or two a game. Yeah, but he's going to get yardage. And the touchdown was there last week for Njoku. So I think you can be comfortable with some of these Browns now that maybe you weren't able to start with Deshaun Watson. Yeah. And Ken Dorsey's taking over play calling duties for Kevin Stefanski. So we'll see how that goes this week for them.
You talk about a coaching staff, dead man walking. They're all getting fired. It's coming. They have to win the Super Bowl not to get fired.
Yeah, they definitely have to turn around. But if this offense looks good with Jameis Winston, maybe they can salvage. If Ken Dorsey just takes over play calling this week, and if they look good rest of season, and maybe they can get back to sneaking into the wild card, might do enough to save Stefanski's job. That's got to be what he's thinking at this point. He's like, we got to change something.
Well, as messed up as any injury is, it's a clear cut. Was it Watson or is it the coaching staff? And like you said, if Jameis comes in and they're 2 games over 500 the rest of the season, it's not the whole season, but the games they have left, you're right. I mean, but then what do you do with Watson next year?
you pay him however much money to sit on the bench, or you?
Yeah, because I'm wondering, did his contract get even more guaranteed with the injury?
It was all fully guaranteed anyway. So
well then.
They're all $240 million was fully guaranteed. The only clause that was in there is if he had any more cases come up against him, then the guaranteed money could go away. But yeah, injury or not, he's due his $240 million. Then
I can't imagine though. With
the only good thing to come of this Deshaun Watson situation is that quarterbacks are not going to be getting 100% guaranteed contracts ever again. It's not happening. This was a one-time thing in the NFL, and that was it. This was a complete and utter failure for the Browns head office, and I don't think any teams are going to be shelling out big money again, especially in circumstances where a guy's changing teams. But I guess we'll see. There we go. We talked about the Browns. We talked about the 3 trades. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let us know which of those 3 wide receivers you would rather have rest of season. And you can go check out the media app. It's an amazing app. Virtual press conference. You can ask people questions who are on the app, and you can also have people come and ask you questions. So make sure you go check that out. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Zach.